Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We'll be getting started in just a few more moments.
Yeah, all praises.
All praises to the Most High Yah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Akika.
Hallelujah.
Very good, very interesting reading. Numbers. I'm sorry, Bamidbar.
Midbar. Yeah.
Bamidbar. It was I mean, we haven't started the class yet, have we?
No.
Okay. I was just wanted to comment, or at least just go through it as far as what I took from it. Seemed like it was a lot of organization, especially as far as the families and their names and how they were going to be organized. Every for like from their names and how they going to be situated, everywhere from east, south,
Yeah.
and then how he took the Levi, and he organized them and what they was gonna like their duties, what they was going to carry, be responsible for, who was going in and who was going to come out. Yeah, it was a lot of organization. So much not laws, but a lot of these, hey, this is what I want. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah. Praise Yah. That's a great summary of things. Awesome. Hallelujah.
That's the word I was looking for, a summary. I couldn't think of the word. The older I get, I'm telling you, I'm forgetting words, but I think actually reading Hebrew makes strengthen my memory too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I would agree with that. Hallelujah.
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 Mm.
Let's go ahead and get started, everyone. Well, I'll give them just one more minute before we go ahead and get started.
Okay.
You have your pens and paper and ask any questions that you may have. Again, this is a review of everything that you read this last week. If you had an opportunity to read the Torah portion, which I really highly recommend for all of us to do, it's life changing, and it helps us understand what the Most High has done and what He has said, and pretty much it tells us a story about what's going to happen. So a lot of people don't know that, but like when we're reading the Torah portion this week, it's kind of like, okay, well, why are we reading about these families and we don't know these people? We don't know, who the leaders of the families are and the tribes, and we don't even know what tribe we're from. So how does this make sense for us as a people, and how does it, pertain to us, and how could it be relatable to us today? Besides, us saying that we're the children of Israel and these are our families. You are from one of those families. I don't know which one you're from, but you are from one of those families. You're from one of those clans. And so, yes, Azania or Elder Bill.
I just wanted to say, oh, Shabbat Shalom. I was talking to Dr. Deborah this week, and she was saying, y'all get together, because she listens to it. Her and Enos listen to this during the week. Because,
Yes.
her father's Rabbi Nolan. And
Yes.
he had a temple in Chicago before, I guess you and I were even born, right? But
Right.
anyway, she was asking, she goes, you all get together every Shabbat and you all don't sing. That's what she said. And so
Yeah.
I just
What?
wanted to, she says, you all don't sing. We don't sing.
Oh, we don't sing. Oh,
Yeah, we don't sing on this holy Shabbat. Yeah,
yeah.
she said, we
Well,
don't
what we
sing.
need, yeah, what we need is, since she's listening, and it's being recorded right now, we love to have Dr. Deborah to come in just
Hallelujah.
for a
Yeah,
few moments, well, before we start our class. She can come in,
right.
10 minutes and give us a song of praise and adoration to our King.
Yep. Hallelujah.
Yeah,
Hallelujah.
let's have her do that. See if you can invite her to do that. Dr. Deborah, if you're listening, we'd love to have you to come by and sing a song for us and our opening for the Most High. I primarily focus on teaching. I can't sing. I could try to sing, but I can't sing. I could play music or whatnot, and but I like to get right to the Torah and speak to that. So, hallelujah, praise be to the living Elohim. Let's go ahead and get started in our class today. Let me share my screen with you all. And let's keep this as simple as possible. Let me take myself off the screen. Hallelujah. All right, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I have there a logo called Kasidav. Okay. Kasidav is an organization that my wife and I, my Isha, we are putting together at this point. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that today. This is an organization that we're starting here in the West Coast. There's a lot of organizations in the East Coast, and primarily, temples and synagogues and whatnot. So what we're going to do is we're going to develop something for here on the West Coast, but anyone across the planet can join this organization as soon as we get it up and running. It's called Kasidav, and it has to do with kindness, mercy, and devotion, which I'm going to talk a little bit about today. Not about the organization, but pretty much about what this word actually means and why we decided to start this organization. Our Torah portion for this week, however, is called Bamidbar. Bamidbar, okay? Bamidbar. And Bamidbar has a definition in the Hebrew that tells us that it's dealing with a location. And the location that we're dealing with is in the wilderness, okay? Let me go ahead and turn right here. Okay. So Bamidbar is dealing with the wilderness. Here's a summary of some of the things that we're going to be talking about today. First of all, we're going to discuss the Hebrew definition of the word Bamidbar, because I think it's very important. The Hebrew gives us insight into why the Most High brought them out to the wilderness, um, versus him taking them directly into the land. Okay, he brings them out to the wilderness first. And then we're going to be dealing with the people, the priority, the purpose, the prophecy, and the process. The people primarily talking about the children of Israel and everyone who's about them, and the priority is dealing with the Mishkan, and the purpose of that is for what they are supposed to do in that Mishkan, which is the dwelling place of the Most High. And then, of course, we're going to deal with a little bit of prophecy today. I'm going to share that with us, and then I'm going to begin to tell us what the process is all about. Um, Prior to us going into this Torah portion, I do just want to go back and let everyone know that for the last several weeks, I've been discussing the idea about Yah's holiness. I've been, sharing with us what has been written about how the Most High is, last week I said his face was turned against us, which that's what he has said. Um, and a lot of people sometimes are getting discouraged because they're saying, well, why are we doing all this? What can we do? You're saying we can't do the offerings. We don't have a priesthood. The only people who's authorized to teach the Torah, the actual Torah, and give us an understanding about holiness is the priesthood. We don't have that. So why are we here and what are we doing? You know? And so that's the reason why we started this organization, or we're going to start this organization called Kasidav. But Kasidav is dealing with what we can do, what we can do. Okay. Kasidav is about what we can do, right? So I got this term from out of course, the Torah, but I also got it from Psalms, okay, which is in the writings by King David. And this last week we were dealing with the meditation on how we should, praise the Most High and so forth and so on. And it kept bringing up the word Kasadim and Kasidav. And Kasidav is a group of people that are the only ones who are authorized to be able, in humanity's perspective, to be able to praise the Most High. There's the only ones who are authorized to do this because they are what they would call the faithful or the devoted followers of the Creator. And as being a faithful follower and of the Creator, one must be kind, and we must understand what mercy is, and we must understand what devotion looks like. And so, we spend a lot of our time trying to I would say reenact or go into a mode of theater to try to act like we're doing what he's asked us to do, when he's really made it simple for us just to be these people, right? Just to be kind, to be merciful, and be devoted to him and being followers of what he said. So basically, in a nutshell, that's what Kasidav means from a very, let's say, Peshat or a very plain level. Okay. Um, the Hebraic definition for bimidbar or midbar um, is right here, as you see. There's several Hebrew letters that are being used right here. At the top, you have the letters in English, which is this M, the I, and then the D, and then the B, and the A, and then the R. These letters are transliterated, meaning that in Hebrew, the letter M looks like this. That's an M. This right here is an M in Hebrew. Okay. And the next letter is a D, which is this one right here. And the next one is a bet right here, which is right here would be this B right here. And the next one is this R right here, which is right here. So when we say, by meat bar, what we're talking about is the wilderness. That's what we're talking about. And so don't get intimidated again by looking at these Hebrew letters. These are just letters. That's all they are. Okay. And they have their names underneath each one of them. This one right here is a meme. This is a dalet and the bet. And then, of course, the resh. It's like your ABCs that you have to learn. And I would encourage everyone to know your Hebrew alphabet. It's 22 letters. It's not hard. All you have to do is learn each one on one hand. You can learn five on one hand, and you can say those letters over and over again, like A, B, C, D. You could say, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey. That's the first five. But at any rate, we want to discover or find what is in the word by Midbar and why is it important? Why did he bring them out to the wilderness? Why is he using this in particular term? It has to do with, as you can see, the function is water, here water, which means movement. Okay, so in Hebrew, we have letters, but they have function. It's how the letter operates. The letters are based on symbols. Okay, so it's not just how the letter operates, but it's actually what the letter means. Okay, so in English, D doesn't mean anything. In Hebrew, it means a door. Okay, in English, M doesn't mean literally anything. In Hebrew, it means water. Okay. So when we look at these words, we read them and go, oh, Bamidbar or Midbar. And then we say, okay, that's wilderness. But no one literally takes the time to go find out why is this word the way it is and why are these letters used. So when looking at this word Bamidbar, you can look at the bottom and you can see clearly that it's really about function. It's really about how things are functioning. Our brother, our Og Dawid, had mentioned that he noticed how the Most High was putting everything into an organization and how things were moving, how he wanted them to move. Okay. How he wanted them to move. And so we need to find out how does the Most High wanted them to move and how does he intend on moving us? Because that's what he's going to do. He's literally going to move us. And the Most High moves us not just by a physical hand of a human, because he said, in some of the text it says that I moved the children of Israel and by the means of by human means, by Abraham, excuse me, by Moshe and Aharon. So he's used men, he's used women to move the children of Israel. When I say women, I'm talking about more specifically Deborah, which by the way, her name, the root of her name is in this word Devar. Okay. I don't have a slide for it, but it just popped in my head. She's part of this. Her name is Deborah. And Devorah, you mean Deborah, Devorah, and that has to do with her giving order. Okay. So as you can see, there's a movement going on. There is a movement for the family. Okay. So the letter bet right here is a tent, and the tent has to do with the family. So these are agricultural terms. These are Hebraic terms. And so when we're looking at this, the Most High literally is saying in our word by Midbar, okay, which they have termed in English numbers, okay? So let me be clear. In the beginning of our book, I'm saying Hebrew, Bamidbar or Midbar. In English, they call it the Book of Numbers. Okay? That's they're calling it Numbers. So they replace Yahweh's word in the name of the scroll, okay? Because this is the name of the scroll. The name of the scroll is called Bamidbar, okay? But they call it Numbers. So the average person is reading this is saying, well, I'll speak for myself. When I was a Christian and I was under the religious system, I used to read the book of Numbers and say, oh, these numbers, it's just a whole bunch of numbers. How many of the children of Israel, how many from this tribe? And it was so redundant and it was so, I would say, I felt like it was a waste of my time. I didn't even care. I didn't even care what the names meant. I never even, said, oh, this is this name, this is this name, this name. I didn't even look and see what their names actually mean. The names of the children of Israel in the book of Bamidbar, known in English as Numbers, those names of those individuals that the Most High called out had his name in their name. It talked about the overall, I would say, landscape of the people, if one should say. Okay. For example, he had got one called Shemuel or Shalomiel. Shalomi means my peace, and then El. So El is the peace of my people, right? Amihud. Amihud means my people are wealthy or my people are majestic. Zuriel, El is my rock. So he chose all these individuals that you saw in your Torah portion, and he called them by name, and he called them by name in Bamidbar, in the wilderness. Okay. And as you notice, he also, when he's speaking to the heads. He's talking to the first. He mentions the firstborn in your Torah portion. He mentions the heads of the families. The men he gives to the heads of the families, the heads of the tribes, according to their families, according to their father's house. So that's within this as well. So there's a whole bunch that's found in this word Midbar. I use ba because that's the name of the Torah portion. That means in, but Midbar is the wilderness. Okay. So that's what is going on with this in particular Hebrew word, Midbar. Okay. There's more to it though. Okay. So let's look at more about it. Okay. So again, wilderness, Midbar. Okay. You can take away the first letter of this word Midbar, and what we have is the word called Devar. Okay. That's what we have. So the wilderness goes from wilderness to Devar. And in Hebrew, Devar means a word. So let's put the pieces together. Okay. We got the wilderness, right? Movement. And now we have the word Devar. So the term Devar actually means word. So when we're looking at the book of Numbers, okay, in English, it's not saying numbers. What it's saying is in the wilderness, the Most High is giving his words. That's why it says from Mount Sinai. Okay. So he's speaking to a word is something that's spoken. Okay. So he's giving his word in the wilderness. And we have to find out, and he speaks in the wilderness, which we already know, but why? Why is he giving this word to them? Why is he doing it? Him doing this. He's doing this because what he's looking for, as Ak Dawid had brought out, that he's bringing the family into order. That's why he's speaking words to the families. He's speaking words to the heads of the families because the head of the family, which is the Resh, is supposed to go and disseminate the information that they're hearing to the people. And the people's responsibility, right, in order to get in order, is to listen to the words of course, the word or the words of the Most High that was transmitted from Moshe and Aharon to the leaders and then down to the leaders of those other clans and families. So within the tribe, just say for example, in a tribe, um, they had a leader of a tribe. Okay, so you have the tribe, and then inside of the tribe, right, you had other clans. Okay, So the tribes would have like hundreds of thousands of people, right? And then the clans are the families, right? So you have another clan or clans, what's inside of the tribe, okay? You have clans inside of one tribe. And then in the clans, you go from the clans and then you have one family, okay? And in each one of these instances, the Most High said, in order to bring order to the people of Israel, I'm going to give the word to the tribe, to the leader of the tribe. The leader of the tribe is going to give the word to the heads of the clans. Okay, so within the tribe of Judah, they had families from the Amudis, they had, the Nakshanites, they had all these other families. Okay, and inside of those families, they had individual families. So they would pass on that information to the individual family. And this is the way that it rides, okay? So, and the clans usually consisted of about 50 or more people. The tribes are thousands. And then, of course, the family itself could be, in the tens or 12s or 15 or something like that, okay? We really don't know exactly how many are in each one of them in terms of the individual families. But according to the tribes, we do have the numbers. We have the numbers of those families, okay? And even in the tribe of Levi, he brought out the fact that when you count them, you're going to count the Kohats, you're going to count the Gershonis, and it tells you who the sons of the Gershoni is. It tells you who the sons of the Kohati is, and it gives you the numbers of those in particular clans. Okay, so it's the tribe, the clans, and then the families. Okay, and so the word has to be transmitted down. All right. Also, too, within this word, which is Devar, okay, we continue, you will find that if you break this word down again, you take another word and you remove the dalet, excuse me, yeah, you remove the dalet and the meme. You take these two letters off, right? And you just look at this word right here. There's another word that's found in it, and it's called bar. Okay, so out of mead bar, you got Devar, and then you got bar. Bar in Hebrew means cleanse. That's what it means to cleanse. And they get this from the idea of grain because when the grain was picked and they had the stalks that were left over, they would burn them, turn them to ash, and use that as soap in order to be cleansed. So within the word davar, here again, the word, there's cleansing. So Yah has given his word to cleanse the people and to sanctify them. And he did this in the midbar, in the wilderness. Okay? So he moves the people from Egypt into the midbar to speak a davar, a word to them. And in that word is going to cleanse them. You understand? So it's not the book of Numbers. It's the book of Bamidbar in the wilderness. In the wilderness, the Most High spoke, and the Most High gave his words. And inside of his word, there was bringing order and organization to who? To the families. And according, using the heads of the families to do that. And then within that, he's using this to cleanse the people. This was the beginning of a process. So how does this relate to us? Let's continue. Also, in the word Bamidbar, I shadowed out the meme and the bet this time. In the word of Bamidbar, you have a word called dar, right here. Not bar, but dar. And dar means circle, and it means life. It means a revolution, okay? The heads of the door, meaning like you're going to go in a circle, in a cycle, okay? The cycle of life from one generation to the next. So when the Most High brought the children of Israel out into the wilderness, he was giving them his word. So he sent them to the mead bar. And we'll keep saying it over and over again. He sent them to the mead bar to give them the davar, the word, to bring order, to bring cleansing to them, because he wants to cleanse them throughout all the cycles of their dar, of their life cycles. That's the reason why. So the book is not called Numbers. I know you hear me saying it over and over and over again. I'm going to keep saying it because we need to understand that we are in the Bamidbar, in the wilderness. Akika, why do you keep bringing up Midbar? Because this is where you and I are going to go. When the Most High sent his word out and he's talking to them and he's writing all this out, you and I believe that it was just for them. It is not just for them. They never received a copy of the Torah individually. The Torah was kept inside of the Mikdash and the Holy of Holies, okay, next to the gold Ark of the Covenant. And if you touched that, if you went in there, you died. So for you and I to have a copy of it today and to be able to look at it and to examine it and to look at its language, it's a great thing. That's why it was written. Because the Most High wanted us to find out what he is going to do for us. All right. So this word within the word Bamidbar, in the word of Davar, in the word of Bar, is this word called Dar. And Dar means the circle of life. Okay. That's what it is. So it's generation after generation. Life itself is a cycle. And you and I both know this. It's a time of renewal and it's a time of destruction. That is normal. That is part of the cycles. So when the Most High brought the children of Israel out there, he said that I want you to gather to me or count for me the sons of Israel from 1 month old. I need you to count for me the sons of Levi from 1 month old. That's what I want you to do. Okay. Then you go through your life cycle. Those who are 19 years old and less are considered youth. And the Most High says that they don't know the difference between good and evil. That is in the book of Deuteronomy. And I believe it's in chapter 2 or chapter number 1 when Moshe was speaking to them and letting them know, well, hey, prior to this, what happened, you guys were disobedient, you were rebelling, but he said, let everyone under the age of 20, they get to remain alive in that following generation because they don't know and they couldn't discern between good and evil. But if you look at our time now that we live in, we believe and we come to understand that we think everyone since they turn 18 that they're an adult. That's completely different according to the Hebrew language and the Hebrew culture and how the Most High sees it. Men do not become men until they reach the age of 20 when they're able to go into military service. Okay. The life cycles or begins at 1 month old. For a viable life is 1 month old. In some cultures, they say 30 days as well. That they don't even consider, some cultures don't even name the child until it's 30 days, 30 days. The viability of life. Okay. Then you and I go through our cycle. We go from the age of being born and 1 month old. Then we go through our youth, which is called a Na'ar or Na'ara. It's a time of youth, a time of learning how to work, and a time of being managed. And then we get to this cutoff right here at 20 years old. And then boom, you're considered a man. Okay. Women, he deals differently with. Okay. He doesn't speak to the age of the women in terms of their, I would say, womanhood. Okay. He does call them a Batula. He calls them an Na'ara. And, women can be married in an Na'ara. They can be married at 18. They can be married at 17. They can be married when they're at that time of the flowering of their age. Okay. So, and then when in terms of when one is to, I think I want to use the right term when they were going to the Most High and making an offering to him, it depended on how old they were, was the amount of silver they supposed to bring. So age is just a cycle for people. And some ages, there's certain things that could be done, and there's other times where it can't. Okay. So everyone goes through their adulthood, and then they finally come to their aging period where they start diminishing in their life cycle. Okay, and they start getting old, and things begin to change, and then they begin to come to a point of transitioning. Okay, we are transient creatures, and we're only going to be here for a certain amount of time. But while we're here, we're going through these circles and cycles. Okay, that's what we're doing. And within this cycle of what you would call life, of renewal and destruction, because in Hebrew thought is once you transition what they would call death, we're calling it go to sleep. Okay, that is the destruction of that in particular body. Okay, but then you have the idea of being renewed. So you may leave at this point, and then you might come back again through this point, depending on what the Most High wants to do. Our families are cyclical, okay? And this is something that has never been taught to us. We've been thinking that once we die, that's it. No, it's a time of renewal, and it's also a time of destruction. And that's part of the cycle of life. These are the two things that we need to understand. This is going to happen. Let's take a tree, for example. Every season, we see that, certain time, the leaves will fall off, and it seems like it's going through a time of destruction. It becomes barren. There's no leaves on it. There's no shade on it. It seems like it's just completely dead, but it's not. What it is sleep. And then the Most High takes it from a state of destruction and he brings it into a state of renewal. And then you begin to see things moving and you begin to see things blossoming and you see things budding. That's how it happens. And that's the cycles. And that's the beauty of this life that you and I are in, and this cycle that the Most High has us on. Okay. All right. So in the wilderness, in summary, the people that the Most High is most specifically speaking to are the men. They're 20 years old and up, and this is for military service. The Levi'im, the people that he's speaking about, is the Levi'im tribe. Okay. And the tribe that he was talking about, they were appointed to the Most High, as Ak Dawid had mentioned about going into the service in the Mishkan and the Ohel Moed. And then, of course, the priority that was mentioned here was that the Levi'im were supposed to have a duty to the Most High. Okay, what they call a mishmeret. And a mishmeret means duty, but also too within that word mishmeret is the idea of shemer, and shemer means to guard. So they had to be on guard on how they were to operate with the Most High because He appointed them, He chose them. Okay, He didn't record them as saying you're for military service. They were appointed to do another service to the Most High. Okay, because they're a family that He set apart. As we read, anybody who puts their hands to any of the work that these individuals are doing, they are going to be put to death. The Levi'im, the Kohats, the Meraris, and the Gershonis, that's the name of the family. We'll get into that next week. He just he designates to them what they're supposed to be doing inside of the Mishkan. Okay, the purpose of the counting and the recording for the men were for military service in the 11 tribes of Israel. Um, and let me stand correct when I say 11. I'm really talking about 12 because the 12, and a lot of people may get confused on this, but you say, well, if you take away the tribe of Levi, there's 12 tribes of Israel, and you remove Levi because they belong to the Most High now, then you only have 11. Well, the extra one that is filling his place is split into two, which is out of Joseph's tribe, there's Ephraim and Manasseh. That's the additional one that was added. So Ephraim takes the place of the one who's lost. Okay. Um, just to kind of give you some information on that. The purpose again for them being recorded was military service, and of course the Levi'im were for the Ten of Meaning for service, and what they were supposed to do in the Ohel Moed, which we're going to get into in just a moment. And of course, the prophecy that we're going to be dealing with is in the book of Hosea. Hosea's name means salvation. So when we're dealing with the prophecy, we're dealing with what salvation is going to look like, and we're also going to be dealing with what the wilderness means. And of course, we talked a little bit about how the wilderness we're brought out to the wilderness to be cleansed. So that's the purpose of us going back out to the wilderness. And that's why it's so important for us to understand Bamidbar at this moment. Okay. And then we're going to talk, of course, about the process. I'm giving a little bit more detail about what the process actually looks like. It's not a difficult process at all. There's just certain things that we have to do. Like last week, we talked about heat wadu and what we're supposed to confess and so forth and so on. But this in particular process is different than your confession. Okay. Confession is part of it, but that's not the process of salvation, and that's not the process of going to the wilderness. And so I want to take the time to show you that. But before we do that, let's just deal with this Ten of Meaning. Okay. There was two words that were used for the tent of meeting in Hebrew. One is called the Mishkan, which is would say the dwelling place of the Most High, and the other one is the tent itself. So I want to tell you what this tent literally means. Of meeting means of testimony. Okay, that's what it means. A tent of testimony, a tent of witnessing. That's what it means. Okay, so let's look at that and get a more understanding. Now, this is very critical. I'm not condemning anyone. I'm not. I'm being very clear. What I'm bringing to us is light. Okay. I want to bring and I want to shed light on what an Ohel Moed means. And I want to shed light on in English what a tent of meeting is. Because there are some organizations out here that are calling themselves an Ohel Moed. Okay. And there's really nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with calling themselves a tent of meeting. There's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with it. The only thing that I find a problem with is that they really don't understand what the Ohel means. Okay. That's what I have a problem with. Okay. You say, well, you're speaking from a place where you don't have one, so it's easier for you to say this. No, I'm saying this because all of us have a duty and a responsibility, a mishmeret, to be honest with ourselves and one another. Again, we're not into theater, so I'm not here to do a drama show. I'm not here to, make us reinvent something, and try to reenact it as if we're in the wilderness. That's not the point of learning about the Most High. The point of learning about the Most High is learning so how we can follow Him properly. Okay, that's the deal. So when we look at this again, when we're reading words like tent. We're like, okay, it's just a tent. And it's a tent of meeting. And the meeting where the children of Israel would go and stand before the tent of meeting, or Moshe went and stood at the tent of meeting. Okay. So it's a tent of a moed. And this word moed, which we spoke about before, but I'm not going to talk too much about it today. I'm just going to roughly touch it. The last two letters right here in Hebrew is called aid. Okay. And aid is a I. That's that letter right there. That means the ayin and the door, the eye of the door, and that means witness. Okay, that means you're testifying. Okay, this mode right here means you're actively testifying right now. So when they went there, it was active for them. They were actively testifying to something. Okay, so sometimes when we're reading, we would just look and say 10 of meeting. Okay, meeting right here means appointment of testimony. That's what it means. So when they were meeting with Yah, they're giving testimony. So for example, when Most High told Moshe, hey, go count the people, go count the sons of Israel. We would say, he just said, go count the people, or go count Lewi, or don't count the Lewi among the children of Israel. We would just say that's something he told them to do. That is a testimony. That is a testimony. You understand? So testimonies are recorded. Okay, and they're testified and they're witnessed by the people who are there. Okay, so they can give testimony, give witness to the fact that the Most High did say this, and this is the reason why it's written. So I bring this up because we don't supposed to take lightly the word tent of meeting. It's being taken like lightly. It's just a tent where they met the Most High. No, it's not. Okay, it's not. It's not just a place where they're meeting. It's not just a place of an appointment. It's a place of testimony. Okay. Within the word for Ohel in Hebrew, this is the word. I'll put a little dot there to represent O, and this is the Ha, and this is the El. Here's the O, here's the Ha, and here's the El. Okay. So this is really this letter. Easy. This one is this letter, and the O is represented by this dot right here with this aleph right here. Okay. So when we're looking at this, that is the name for tent. Okay. So I'm like, okay. A tent. Aleph, Hey, Lamed. All right. Remember, Hebrew letters are symbols. So what is the symbol of Aleph? What is the symbol of the Hey? What is the symbol of the staff? So I go through, do the research. This is what I find. An ox, the hands raised, and the shepherd's staff. Okay, well, what does that mean to me today? Because I don't have an ox. I got hands, but I do have a staff, but I'm not using it for an ox. So what does it mean? Is it just symbolic? What does it mean? Again, looking at the function of the word ohel, we'll find something that the Most High wants us to look at. He wants us to understand the function of the ox, not just the ox. He doesn't want us to just look at the ox. He wants us to look at the function of the ox. So part of the idea of a tent of meeting is supposed to be a place. It's supposed to function of strength. That is the first part of it. Okay, so those of you who have tent of meetings, you call yourself Ohel Moed, you need to understand this. Okay, those of us who don't have a tent of meeting, we need to understand this. Because if you ever decide to go to Ohel Moed, anybody's Ohel Moed, they're going to have these things that we're going to be talking about today in it. If they don't have this, then they're not an Ohel Moed. They're playing and they're doing a drama and they're trying to bring you in so they can get their numbers up or they can play like they really know the Most High. Okay. The second part of this word ohel, okay, means a great to look and behold at a great sight. That's why the man's hands are raised. Okay. So in Hebrew, this letter that you have right here is a man that's standing. The picture graph is a man standing and he got his hands raised up in the air. Okay. And what he's looking at is a great sight. So if he's looking at a great sight, his hands are up, he's giving, praise, okay? And he's looking up at the sky in the Shamayim, which we would call the heavens. That's where he's looking. And he's looking at something great, okay? So we have the strength and then we have the great sight. The last letter is the Lamed, which in English will be this letter L right here. That is a symbol for a shepherd's staff, okay? So when you go to Ohel Moed, you're supposed to go there looking for strength, and you're definitely supposed to be looking for a great sight. You're supposed to see something. And then finally, you're supposed to be there to be guided and to be protected. Okay? That's what an Ohel Moed is. Okay? So the Ohel is a place of strength, looking at a great sight, guidance, and protection. Okay? So now the question is, now that we know what a tent is, according to the tent of meeting is, now we need to find out something else about this word. Because in this word that we have ohel right here, in Hebrew, the word always starts off with, any Hebrew word always starts with two letters, never three. Three is a child root, meaning like these are the parents, and then they add this letter right here to make it a child. Okay? So in the Hebrew, this letter right here is the child, and these two letters right here are the parents. It's a family. So if you want to know who the family is, if you really want to know what an ohel is, then you got to look at what the parents are. So that's what we need to look at. Okay. Well, you see right here, the hey right here is the father and the lamed is the mother. That's what the family they're from. There's 22 letters in this family. And so these letters got together and they said, let's come together. And they had a child, and the child was an aleph, and then the child put the child in there, and then you got an ohel. Well, who's the parents? Because the parents are not an ohel. The parents are just a hel. So let's look at find out who the parents are. Okay. The parents represent something. Okay. So we're going to take the aleph off. The child is gone before the child even came there. Here's the parents. The parents' name means to shine. And it means the stars. When they came together, it's the stars. Okay. And that's the great sight that they're looking at, because that's where the shine comes from. So part of the word ohel moed is the idea of the stars. That's the great sight that one is supposed to look at. Why are they looking at a great sight? And why is it the shepherd staff? What does the shepherd staff have to do with looking at a great sight? The shepherd staff is only in the hand of a shepherd. Okay? It is the shepherd's job to guide and protect. Again, you want to make sure that if you're going to a tent meeting in English, which is called Ohel Moed in Hebrew, that it has to be strength there at that in particular place. But more than anything, the most important part of you going there is to find light of the stars. He said, well, what do you mean find the light of the stars? Okay. To shine in Hebrew, okay, deals with the stars. The stars are used as a navigation system by the shepherd from the ancient Hebrew text. So when the shepherd was leading the sheep to wherever they needed to go, they had to follow the stars as a navigation system, kind of like what you and I use today called Google Maps or whatever. So it's something to guide them. So they didn't have, what they would call GPS. They didn't have any of that. They had the stars. So when the shepherd was guiding the sheep to the location he needs to go or to go home or to their destination, they would use the stars to find out where they needed to go. And if they didn't follow this navigation system, they would get lost. Or if they didn't understand the navigation system, they would get lost. The shepherd would be lost and the sheep would be lost. And then they would deviate from the path they're supposed to go. If they got off course, they have to know the stars. They have to know it. And if they don't, they're not getting back. And then that's exposure to what? Where the shepherd now has to protect the sheep, right? He's guiding them. And if the shepherd doesn't know where he's going, the sheep are toast. Okay. So let's play it forward. We got people today that have Ohel Moed, and they're talking and teaching people. Listen, because that's what the shepherd staff is supposed to do. The staff is there to remind you who's teaching, leading, and guiding the people. So the leaders of these 10 of meeting or Ohel Moeds, they have to know the navigation system. They have to be able to listen and see and open their eyes to know where they're going. Otherwise, everybody that's with them is going to be lost. You understand? You look at this in the Christian church right there. They call themselves pastors, and they're leading the sheep, and they're leading them in areas, and they don't know where they're going. You say, okay, well, what is the navigation system besides us knowing the stars? What is Yah using for us in order to bring us so we won't get lost, so we can go where we need to go? I'm going to show it to you. Okay? That's why it's important to look at the Hebrew language, because you'll get more insight. So when we read tent of meeting, oh, that's the tent of meeting. No. The tent of meeting was a place where the people would know, oh, this is where the Most High is. Remember, it says that there was a fire, a cloud of fire, a pillar of fire at night. And it was a cloud over the day. They would know where they were going. Okay? They were being guided by the light. And so the Ohel Moed, the tent of meeting, was a place of light. Okay? Also, till before we go on, this word means not only to shine from the stars, but it also means for one to shine in their actions and in their behavior. That is found in this word hall right here. And I'm going to show you how that comes about. Okay? So there's a couple of ideas that we need to look at. Okay? We need to understand, talking about the shepherd staff. We're talking, behold, look at the staff. Where's the shepherd leading us? Is the shepherd following the navigation? Okay? And who is the shepherd? Some people choose men to be their shepherds. Some men choose other men to be their shepherds and to lead them. Some men choose women to lead them. Some women choose children to lead them. Or some women choose other women to lead them. You understand? Some people don't want to be led. So who should we be looking for to lead us? I'm going to make it clear. I'm with you. I'm not your shepherd. Yahweh is our shepherd. Yahweh is my shepherd. Yahweh is our shepherd. If you and I are following Yah because he's the shepherd, he's leading his flock. You read that all in the book of Psalms. David said that Yahweh is his shepherd. You understand? A person who's a shepherd is a person who has control over Yahweh's sheep. That's why I'm not a shepherd. Because it's not just being over a few people, it's being over all of Yahweh's people, not some of Yahweh's people. I want you to hear what I'm about to tell you. We have an idea that the Most High would choose individuals to be over certain groups of people. But you don't see any consistency in the message that's given by all these different men or women. Everyone has different ideas. They have a different way on how they feel the people should be led. You have some people that would do it this way. You have some people to do it this way. You have some people. There's no one that's shepherding us as a nation of people. So which one would you choose? And this is why you see so many people going to different channels. We're looking at this person. We're looking at this person. We're listening to this person. We're listening to this person. We're trying to find our way. And that's okay. We could do that. I listen to other people all the time, but they're not my shepherd. They're not. I'm looking for what Yahweh said, and that's what I'm encouraging you to do. Don't look at me as your shepherd. Look at the Most High as your shepherd. Look at him and let him be the one, because he's the one that you and I are following. You're not following me. And you shouldn't be following any other man or any other woman or any other person. We should be following Yah. Period. Here's the navigation system. Okay? The navigation is so simple, it's insane. As you see in the screen, you have this circle, you have you, and you have a destination. That's as simple as this is. You and I just have to know how to get there. Okay? And you can see right here on the bottom, the word ohel right here. And that means Tena meeting. Okay? So you say, well, we don't have a Tena meeting. We don't have a Tena meeting, Akika. So why is this even here? Well, again, it's about light. That's what it's about. Y'all knew that you and I would not have, listen, you and I wouldn't have a Tena meeting. And the religious people are the people that are looking for a Tena meeting. That's what people are looking for. In order to follow Yah, they need a Tena meeting. A physical Tena meeting. And then when they built the Tena meeting, everybody in it, all of a sudden, the men that's in there are holier than everybody else that is in there, according to what they're saying. The Tena meeting that they're over and they're guarding and protecting, they're saying it's clean and it's kadosh, and it's not. And they got you and I believing this because we don't understand what Yah is saying. Because we don't know the language, because we don't take out the time to chop down these English words and go find out what it means. Just like when we begin to read our Torah portion, it's the book of Numbers. Because that's what we've been taught. It's not the book of Numbers. It's Yahweh speaking in the wilderness and organizing his people. You would never get that from the word numbers. You only think about counting. It's not about counting. It's about appointment. It's about choosing individuals in order to have them the heads of the family, to disseminate Yahweh's words down throughout the generations, like we just found out. But there is a navigation system that you and I need in order to go back to Yahweh. And if you and I get lost and we don't stick with the navigation system, then you and I are going to have a problem. Because the navigation system was designed by the Most High according to the stars, according to the light. which is found in your word, oh hell. So what are we supposed to do, Akika? Are we supposed to look at the stars and wait for it to get night and figure out how to get home? No. This is how you are going to get home. This is how you're going to make it to your destination. Okay? Listen. The first word or letter that is found again in Ohel is an aleph, which you and I know is the ox, means strength. Okay? It also means power. Okay? And also is the first letter in Yahweh's name, Elohim. It also represents leadership. Okay? The leadership of who? The leadership of the one who holds the staff. Okay? So if you and I look at these first two letters right here, I'll put 3 dots right here. It'd be El, which you would know as God or power. Okay? It is the power and the strength of the staff, the one who's holding the staff. This actual word here too means yoke. It's the one who's leading the ox. Okay? It's the one who's leading the ox. He's going to take the ox and put the shepherd staff on it to make the ox and lead the ox to a destination. You're the baby ox that needs to be led. So the more stronger and powerful ox, the one who knows everything, is going to attach a yoke between you and him. Metaphorically, Yah's not an ox. It's represented by strength. He's going to attach that red thing right there or line is an attachment of a yoke that he's going to attach himself to the baby ox. The older, more mature ox leads the baby ox to teach it where to go. And he uses the yoke. So we're attached to the Most High. So the first part of our navigation is being attached to the one who already knows the way to get to the destination. The Most High teaches his people, follow me. Yah teaches his people in circles. Because our lives are not only cyclical, the set apart times, the appointed times are cyclical. You know, every 7 months or every 7 days or every 7 years is all cyclical. Your life is cyclical, like I showed you in the first slide where it says that you know, renewal and destruction. Your life cycle, everything is cyclical. Okay, it's how many rotations, how many times you go around in a circle. The Most High teaches his people through going in a circle. Okay, so you and I are going through a circle all the time. The circle is the Torah portions where the Most High is talking to us. He's speaking to us. He's leading us and he's guiding us in a circle. When a man over his sheep or his cattle and he wanted to train his ox, he would put it in a pen, is a circle. And he would teach this ox to go around in this circle. Around and around and around and around and keep going and going and going. You said, well, why is that? His life and his work is going to be a straight line, going from one place, the ox, to down to his destination. So when the ox was doing his work, he wasn't going in circles to do his work. He was going in circles to learn how to walk straight. Hear what I'm about to tell you. If you and I cannot go in circles, and we won't listen to the Most High in his cycles, in a cyclical fashion, there is no way possible that you and I will ever be prepared to go to the destination, which is a line to walk straight to where we need to. When I say to walk straight, I'm talking about the ox. When the ox was going to do his work, he wasn't walking in circles and doing his work in circles. He had to know how to walk straight to the destination. Well, what we want to do is we want to think that we're walking straight first, and just go directly to the destination without having to go through the cycle of learning. People don't want to do the Torah portions or learn about the way the Most High wants. They want to run and do what the Most High said. They want to skip everything he said. They don't want to go in the circle. They don't want to be tamed. You and I are like an ox. We are supposed to be tamed. And you and I are going to be tamed by the staff of Yah. And he does it by putting a yoke on us and attaching ourselves to him. And secondly, by taking his very staff and prodding us, poking us, striking us, pushing us, removing us, pressuring us, guiding us, teaching us, leading us to get us to go where he wants to go. Not where some other man wants you to go. So part of the navigation system is being connected to the Most High, being connected to the leadership of the Most High through the Torah. Then you and I will be able to what? To see. You'll be able to see. Now you'll be able to behold something. You're being led to your destination. Because you listen, because you're going in a cycle with the Most High. And you're listening to him. When you and I listen to the Most High, then you and I achieve the brilliance of the shine that he wants in our lives. There's the word for shine right there in the word Ohel Moed. He's the strength of the shine. He's the strength of your shine. He's the strength of your conduct. He's the strength of your actions. He's the strength of your systems. He's the strength of your mind. And he's the strength of our souls. This word that we have right here called Ele in Hebrew, it looks just like Ohel. The letters are arranged differently. They have an Aleph right here. Here's an Aleph. They got a Lamed. There's a Lamed. And here's a Hey. In here, here's another Hey. The letters are arranged differently, but they're connected. That's connected to the Ohel. That's connected to the tent of meeting. So when Yahweh is speaking to the children of Israel, and he's telling them this, and he's speaking from the Ohel Moed, he was giving these, because this word Ele right here means these words, or these were the generation, or these was the counting, these were the families. This word was used in Ele Mishpachotam, and these were the families, and these were this and this and that. So it's the Most High talking directly to the people. These, the people that are part of the conversation. You're part of the conversation. You're part of the family. You're part of the training. You're part of the cycle. You're part of the navigation. Because you and I are Yahweh's people. And we're going to be led to that destination. Everybody is going to go there. It's a matter on, are you prepared when you get there? Do you see? Now, what is the destination? What is and what would be our final destination? I'm going to show it to you. Your final destination, people, is still found in the word Ohel. You're going to see something. That's the first letter I'm showing you about your destination. The Hey means to behold and to look at a great sight. That's part of your destination. Because you're not doing these circles in vain. You're going somewhere. So when you're reading your Torah portion during the week and you're studying and you're praying and you're looking for information during your research and investigation, it's not in vain. When you are following what Yahweh said. Some people are going to come to the destination and they're not going to get what you have. They're not going to see this great, well, they're going to see a great sight, but they're not going to get this. Again, those two letters, again, when we put them together, means to shine. That means to shine. And it's the same two letters that are found in Ohel Moed. It's the same two letters that are found and rearranged differently in these, or how to get to your, or how to be trained. See? So what is it? There's one more letter. It's another lamed. And that word right there in Hebrew is something that you and I say all the time. Hallel. Hallel is the root for the word called halal or hal lu ya. When we say halal or halul, hallelujah, you understand? You're saying, let there be brightness, let there be shine on Yah. When we get to our destination, you and I are going to say, hallelujah. We're the ones who are bringing light to him through our actions and our conduct. We're going to say, hallelujah, when we get there in front of the Most High, because of what he has done for us by him setting us free. And hallelujah for teaching us and guiding us and putting us on our pathway so we can make it to our destination, to give him the praise. You and I cannot give Yah praise, listen to me, without having a life that lines up with the hallelujah. You need hall in your life. You need a halal in your life. You need an ele in your life. And by you doing that, you recognize the ohel of Yah, the shining of Yah's presence, the shining of Yah's laws, the shining of Yah's teaching. That's praise. Yah is bringing us on our cycles to bring us to a place of authentic praise, wholehearted praise, to bring light to Yah. When you and I have his name on us and we live in a world, we're supposed to bring light where people see the light of Yah. Meaning what? Through my actions and my conduct. How I'm moving, how am I thinking, how am I talking? That's why you read in your Haftarah, or excuse me, your Tehillim, or your praise or your meditation this week, blessed is the man who doesn't walk in the counsel of the wicked. Neither do he stand in the way of sinners, neither does he sit in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the Torah of Yahweh, and in it he meditate day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water and bring forth his fruit in its season. The wicked are not so. They're like the chaff which the wind driveth away. You understand? So you and I are in a relationship with Yahweh and being taught by Yahweh so we can learn how to give him praise. Authentic praise. I would rather have a life of praise than a song of praise. Because authentically, I know that I'm the one that has done what he said. I'm the one who's been following what he said. I'm the one who's not going to add to what he says. I'm the one who's not going to take away from his said. I'm the one. I'm the one that says I'm going to humble myself and allow the Most High to teach me. I'm the one. And you should be the one too. These are decisions that you and I have to make for ourselves. You can't force anybody to follow this navigation system. is being taught by the Most High to make it to your destination. Here's the prophecy. Those of you who escape will remember me among the nations. It's right there at the top. Where they have been exiled. How broken I have been over their whoring hearts, and that left me. And over their eyes, they went whoring after their idols. They're going to loathe themselves for all the evils they have committed in their disgusting practices. Again, they're going to remember me. Those of you who escape will remember me. That you left me. You're going to loathe yourselves. So you're telling me that I'm one who escaped? Yeah, you're one who escaped. I'm one who escaped. When we left Yah, he's making reference to the wilderness. When he talks about leaving him, he's talking about leaving his instructions. When he says to loathe themselves, they're going to loathe themselves and hate what they have done when they're in the lands of their enemies, when they're exiled. They're going to remember me. They're going to remember me. That they left me. They're going to leave the one who brought him out of Egypt by Moshe, Naharon, and Miriam. My prophet and my prophetesses. My prophetess. They're going to remember the wilderness experience, that there was a priesthood and a tent of meeting, O Mohel Moed, and that he appointed the Leviim. They're going to remember that in the land that they were in, I gave them saviors, I gave them kings, I gave them prophets. And while they were in Assyria and Babylon, they had prophets. They were telling them what the future is going to be. They had in the exile, they had teachers. They had Ezra, they had Nehemiah, they had people who still knew the Torah. Then they came out of their exile and went back into the land briefly, and they got put out again and ended up being in the nations. Scattered and sowed, one and the same, synonymous, planted. Yah has taken us and planted us in the nations. So there will come a time when you and I will be gathered, when he's going to gather a harvest, just like he scattered and sowed. He's now going to do a harvest, and he's going to gather the individuals. The ones that he's gathering are the ones who are going to remember him. The ones that he's gathering is the ones who understand what happened in the wilderness. The ones he spoke to in the wilderness. They're all of us are being brought out into the wilderness again. That's where you and I are going. In order for that harvest to be separated, for the Most High can find out, he uses agricultural terms. The harvest is who grew the way it's supposed to grow, who didn't grow, who flourished, who didn't. How could they flourish? By the water of the Torah. How could they flourish? By the light of the heavens. How could they flourish? There's an expectation, even while you're in the nations, to make a move and to follow what the Most High says. Whether you're a plant or an animal or whatever other symbol he would use to teach us, because that's what he uses. He uses animals and agriculture to teach his people so they can understand, because he's the creator of the heavens and the earth and everything in it. And you and I should be able to look at the seasons and understand and know when something's wrong. My example is this. I got a strainer full of cherries. Just bought them earlier this week. Went there in this morning. A lot of them are rotted. But there's some inside of the basket that wasn't rotted. I went through the basket and I separated all of it to find out which ones I can keep and which ones I had to throw away. And there were some that looked really good, but when I looked at it, it had a mark on it, or it looked like it had been contaminated by the other ones that were around it, that was in its skin. And I didn't want to cut it off to say, well, okay, so if I cut it, no, because it's already been infected. So I took out the ones that look good. I took out the ones that look bright red. I took out the ones that were dark red. The fresh ones and the ones that are a little bit older, more mature. But everything that I picked was the one that I wanted. And it was the one that wasn't infected. It was the one that didn't have any rot on it. It was the one that didn't have any blemishes on it. It's the one that I accepted. The Most High is going to choose the ones that he wants. Just like you and I have, we have the sovereignty over our decision-making process, and we get to choose what's acceptable to us and what is not acceptable to us. He's going to choose what's acceptable to him and what is not acceptable to him. And nobody can tell him who he should choose and who he shouldn't choose. But there will be a separation, and that's going to happen in the wilderness. And after we make it out of the wilderness, if indeed we make it out of the wilderness, the final part of that is going back to our ancestral land. I have their word, Kasidav, right there, because those are the only ones that are going into the land. Which I talked about last week about the ones who are going to make the commitment to confess, admit, and do the things that he asked us to do. Admit what our ancestors did, admit what we did, say that he's the one who sent us in, say that he's angry with us. There's a lot of people who refuse to say that Yah's angry with the children of Israel. They still want to say that he's not mad and he's not angry. And yet and still, they cannot defend themselves against their enemy. Because why? Because they're in the theatrics and they're trying to change what he said so they can feel better about their situation. The Most High is telling us that you are filthy and you're unclean in the lands of your enemies. We have to be brought out into the wilderness. Once we're brought into the wilderness, we're going through the process of being cleansed by what? By what he is going to say. When we get out to the wilderness, we're going to be organized according to what? According to the Devar, according to the word, according to the aura or order. When we get out into the wilderness, you're going to find out what family you belong to. And when you stand, you're going to stand with your family. So it doesn't matter if you think you're part of Judah. If you're not Judah, you're part of Asher, you're going to go be with Asher in the north part with him and them. That's your family. That's where you're going. If you're a Leviim, you're going to be set apart, and the Most High is going to tell you your service. If you're a Yehudi, you're going to be with the family Yehuda. You're going to go stand where you're supposed to stand, and you're going to your family. That's why you're going back out to the wilderness, so the Most High can put everybody in order. Because right now, like one of our teachers out here, Morah Bathsheba, you probably heard of her. She says it all the time, and I have to agree with her. She said, you out of order. We're out of order. We are out of order because we are trying to replace Yahweh's words with our own. And he's saying that his word is the only word that can purify and cleanse us and set us right and restore us. It's the only word that needs to be, that's going to be spoken. There's not going to be any word from our Kika. There ain't going to be no word from nobody else. Nobody in the East Coast, West Coast, nowhere in the world. The only word that's going to be listened to is Yah's word. And you and I have to wait for it. And I know sometimes it gets a little, hey, we don't want to wait because we're just so eager. We want to, get there as quickly as we possibly can. It's not going to happen like that. But look at what he says. He says they're going to hate themselves. That means loathe means to hate themselves for their disgusting practices. Well, how could you hate yourself or even meditate and reflect upon that if you're not thinking? If you really are not considering what he said. He didn't say they're going to be celebrating. He said they're going to be hating themselves. But you and I don't see that today. We see everybody singing and dancing. That's what we see. We see everybody saying that they're not eating bread that's afflicted. I'm not talking about anybody directly on my channel right now. I'm talking about people I've talked to outside of my channel who say that Yah has blessed them because they have a job. I talk to people who know that the children of Israel won't do what he says, won't follow nothing he says. I got people in my own family that don't even listen to what the Most High says. See? Remembering Yah means remembering, and where you're going to remember him at. You're going to remember him while you're scattered and when you're in a bad situation. That's when you're going to remember the Most High. In conclusion, we're talking about the process. This is the most important part of the whole thing. This is it. If you don't understand the process and you don't understand how it's going to happen, then you're going to be lost. As you can see, this is another circle. This is another cycle because all how Yah works is in circles. How Yah teaches us, how he does this in cycles. There's things that are going to happen first and things are going to happen after that, and then something else. And after, it's all going to respond. Okay? It's all going to happen in cycles. Okay? Because this is the way it always happens. Okay? The process is this. The first step in the process is this. Very simple. He says you're going to start thinking about what's happened to you. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter number 30. Deuteronomy chapter number 30. And guess what? Deuteronomy in Hebrew is called Devarim, meaning his words. Devarim. Devarim, his words. Chapter number 30. Which is after chapter number 29 is said that I haven't given you eyes to see and ears to hear. That goes before it is after chapter number 28 says the curses are going to come upon you guys. Chapter number 27, it tells you that what you need to bring to me. This is what's going to happen to you. You understand? So we need to start thinking about that. And we have. Okay? A lot of us have. We have started thinking about what happened. Yah says reflect upon that. That's the first part of the process. The second part of the process in Hebrew is called shuv. And shuv basically means to return. In your Haftarah portion in the book of Hosea of salvation, it tells you that this is what the whorish wife said. Remember, he said that you guys, and I'll show it to you again. He said they had whoring hearts that left me. Oh no, I was never a whore. That's not me. Nope, nope. That's them. That's the children of Israel back then. That's not me. I have the Spirit of God inside of me. I follow Christ. That's not me. I never left the Most High. Nope, nope. That's not me. That's them. That's Old Testament. This is for the individuals. This process is for the individuals who are going to follow the navigation system. This is for the individuals who understand the cycle of life between renewal and destruction. This is for the individual who understands that the Most High trains people on cycles. This is for the individual that the Most High is saying that this is a circle within a circle. These are for the individuals who understand there's a 7-day cycle, there's a 7-week cycle, there's a 7-year cycle, there's a 7-7 cycle. These are for people who understand that. The people who don't understand that, just forget it. Turn the channel off. Okay? These are for people who are humble. They need to return. When you and I return to the Most High, we're going to say, I will return to my husband, my Ishi. I'm turning back to my husband. How can you turn to your husband if you weren't a whore? How could you turn to the Most High if you weren't involved in idolatry? Is he lying when he says that we're an idolatrous people? Is he lying when he says you're unclean? Is he lying when he says you have spoken the names of other gods? They came out of your mouth? And now you're going to sit here and say that you're going to call on the name of Yahweh. And you called on the name of other gods. And now all of a sudden now you and I are purified. Under whose approval? Whose acceptance? Who gets to determine whether or not you and I are clean enough to approach Yah? Is it Akika? Is it some other brothers or some other sisters? Who determines this? Is it some rabbi? Is it somebody over in charge of the synagogue? Is it a pastor? Who chooses whether or not you're going to be accepted by the Most High? Shuv. That means that you and I have been going in the opposite direction. He says, you return unto me. The returning to Most High means to give testimony to the fact that Yah is our husband and you and I have been a whore. Now sing a song about that. I don't hear no songs being sung about what a whore his wife has been. I don't hear no songs talking about how we betrayed him and how we left him. We sing songs as if nothing ever happened. But Yah doesn't look at it like that. He's already told us. How many times does he need to say it? Listen to the voice of Yahweh. That is the Torah. That's the process. So start thinking about what's happened to you. Understand the circumstances. Understand where you are. Understand the uncleanness. Understand the idolatry. Understand your ways and your conduct and your actions. Reflect upon it, and then start listening to the voice of Yahweh, your husband. Once you and I begin to listen to the voice of our husband, okay, our master, okay, you and I have to make a decision. Reading the Torah alone is not where it stops. Listening to Yah is not where it stops. It actually demands a certain response through action. It is being devoted to the Most High Yah, being a devoted follower, not just in word, but in your actions. Being like him. The word Chasidav has a positive and it has a negative. Chasidav is one who's kind and merciful, as you see in my logo there. One who is full of devotion. But the negative of that is the ones of reproach. The ones of shame. We can choose to either be either or. And my desire is for all of us to come to be Chasidav that are devoted followers of Yahweh. Not just through the Torah, but how we live our lives. Because Yahweh has been merciful. Yah has been compassionate. Yah has been kind. We need not to try to seek Kodashim because we can't, because we're in a place of uncleanness. Let's be reasonable here. But what we can seek is Yah's Chasidah. We can be followers of the Most High. The Most High is Kesed, which you can see in this word Chasidah. Kesed means for one to be merciful. Yah says, I'm going to show Kesed. You want to find out what it is? It's C-H-E-S-E-D. Kesed. That's mercy. In our covenant the Most High made with us, he said, I am going to show, and I'm making Kesed. I'm going to make mercy for those who are loving me and keeping my commandments. To who? To a people that have been shameful and a people of reproach. We've been a reproach to the nations. Look it up. Most High said, I will make you a reproach unto the nations. I'll make you shameful in their eyes. And even that may be the case of our whoring and our indiscretions and our betrayal of the Most High and our abandonment of him and leaving him and thinking that we're going to go somewhere else and find something better. And playing games with our boyfriends, not one, many, over the thousands of years as a people that we haven't been faithful and devoted to Yah from the inception and the moment that we left out of Egypt. As a people, Kasidav. This is what we need to become. The next word here on your slide is called patah. And I have to tell you this because I will explain it. Even though it's in Hebrew, I'm explaining it to you. It's in Hebrew because I'm trying to make sure that I say exactly what it's supposed to say. I'm supposed to explain it to you in the way that it was written. Another phase in this process is this. After you and I become devoted followers of our husband, okay, the Most High says something to his wife. He says, I'm going to persuade her and I'm going to bring her out to the Hamid bar. If you've been in this class for the last hour and some change, you know that Hamid bar is out to the desert or the wilderness to speak to her heart. That speaking to her heart is not the word devar, it's a word called patah. Patah means that I'm going to open her mind. Not only is the Most High going to cleanse us when we get there, but he's going to open us up to be receptive to what he's trying to give us. Something that we've been refusing for centuries. We've been refusing to open our hearts to the Most High, open our minds to the Most High, accept what it is that our husband has been trying to tell us and to give us so we can live the best life possible. So you see that he says, I'm going to persuade her. That word persuade means to woo her. I'm going to speak to her in a way that lets her know that, hey, listen, I'm for you. You're the one I love. This is a relationship. As you can see, it's a process, but it's a process of returning and reconciling back with our Elohim. You cannot return to the Most High if you don't listen to his voice of your husband. You cannot return to you can say you're going to return, but your return has to be based on not only what you say, but your actions. Your devotion to Yah cannot be based on what you say, but your actions. Listening to his voice is proved by the fact on your actions. So is Yah just talking to us to be talking to us? No, he's showing us by his actions. Bringing us out to the midbar, bringing us out to the wilderness, bringing us out to speak to us, to open us up, to open our minds, to cleanse us, to bring us to another level. That's part of the process of restoration of a relationship that has been broken by a whore and her husband. Yeah, I'm going to keep saying it. A whore. Men and women whores. Showed the whole world everything, but we couldn't give nothing to our husband. Don't understand modesty. Don't understand the responsibility to do what's right, to be wholehearted towards the Most High. To be in it, to be in it, to be in the marriage with the Most High because we want to be, not because we're obligated, because that's what we want. This whole thing has been about us not pretending that we want something when we really don't want it. This is what this is all about. Pretending that we're listening. Yeah, uh-huh. Husband's talking, yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm married. Yeah, We took our husband for granted. The final part of this process is called a aras and barit. Okay. And what that means, everyone, an aras and a barit, if you know Hebrew a little bit, you know that a barit is talking about, they would say, a covenant. Okay. After Yah brings us out to the wilderness to speak This is going to your destination in a circle. Okay. Yah says, I will betroth you to me forever. That's that word aras. Okay. Yes, I will betroth you. That's aras, you to me in righteousness. Well, what is aras, Akika? What is that word betrothed there? What does it mean? He says, I'm going to be engaged with you. And I'm going to do it in justice. I'm going to do it in grace. I'm going to do it in compassion. I'm going to do it in righteousness. Sadiq. And he says, I will betroth you to me in faithfulness, and you will know Yahweh. That means that after he brings us out, then I'm going to change things between us. Our relationship is going to change. See? So this is the point that I've been trying to get us to understand. When Yah says that he's going to be aras to us, the word aras is the aleph and the resh and then the sheen. Okay. And this word literally means here, this is the aleph, and here's the resh and the sheen. To sum it up as beautifully as I can, it means to inherit. Okay. It means the head of something. The resh is the head, and the head is the inheritor. Okay. So the Most High is saying, I'm going to give you in his own way. I'm going to give you your inheritance. So the inheritor is going to give us our inheritance. Okay. You're going to inherit what you're supposed to. But that it can only happen after the Most High has deemed us worthy to be brought back to our inheritance. Do you understand? So look at the process and understand it. So when someone is saying that Yah is with us, then you have to go here and say, well, if he's with us, like you're determined that he's with us, then surely, why did he say, I have to bring you out to there and that's when I'm going to speak to you? And I'm talking about the nation. He's going to bring the nation out to speak to her. You understand? I'm going to speak to her. And the ones that he's speaking to is the ones who have been listening to his voice. Because he's not going to speak anymore to people that are not listening. He's not going to speak to anyone who didn't want to return. Do you understand why this is very important here about you thinking first and then come to your senses and then say, well, I'm going to return. And then based on you returning and listening, you say, okay, well, I'm going to listen to what he says. I'm going to try to understand what my husband's talking about. Then after you hear what he says and you accept what he says, then I'm going to follow my husband. I'm going to follow my husband. I want to follow him. He says, okay, great. So now you're open to it. Patah. Okay, because that means to open. It comes from the Hebrew word patah, which this is the letter, the first letter is a mouth. Okay. Now you're willing to listen. Okay. The mouth is what? Where the speech of Yah comes from. You've been willing to listen to me. Now I'm going to bring you out to the wilderness. Before he brought us out to the wilderness, and everybody didn't want to listen to him. They were just there to be there. They weren't there because they wanted to be. So the Most High, when he talks about, I'm going to betroth you, he's saying, look, I'm going to be excited about you again. I'm engaged with you now. So he uses the term engagement or to be betrothed to show you that now I'm excited. I'm really exhilarated about what's about to happen, what's going to take place. Now I'm finally happy about this relationship. That's when I said last week that Yah's not happy with us, people. I'm not trying to put us down and tear us down. I'm trying to tell you the truth. You can't have it both ways. Because Yah's not saying at this moment that I'm excited about you. Go look at what betrothed means. He's not betrothing us right now. So when you get this so-called negative for me, you need to be looking at the positive and say, okay, well, why did Yah bring out the negative? Yah brings out the negative in everything, like in this word Kasi Dav. I told you it's positive to follow Yah, negative to not follow him, to be a reproach. There's always a positive and negative to everything. You cannot accept the positive without accepting the negative. So if the Most High is telling you that he's angry and his face is turned against us, he's saying, I haven't brought y'all to the wilderness yet where I'm going to talk to you as a nation of people. So again, it goes back to this step in the process. Are you listening to the voice of what Yahweh said? stop debating what he has said. I turn my face against you. You do not have a priesthood. You do not have a temple. You don't have any of that. But what do you have? You gotta look at what he left us. He left us a copy of the Torah, where you and I would find out in Davarim 30, hey, we need to start thinking about it. It's a guidance system. If you follow the guidance system, you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see it. He's guiding us. Don't you get it? So on the cycles of teaching us, like we saw in our other slide, he's preparing you for this. So you could go in a circle. So you could get to your destination, which is your inheritance. And when you get to your inheritance, that's when you're going to hallel. That's when you're going to hallelujah. That's when your song will really matter. That's when all the earth is going to rejoice and sing to the Most High. Is because what he did for his people. So let's stop playing games with Yah. Let's stop muddying the waters. Let's stop taking what we learn in Christianity and bringing it over to our Hebrew understanding and trying to make it make sense so we can hurry up and get through the cycle of learning so we can stop and just keep thinking that the Most High is with us and he's not mad anymore and that we're operating thinking that he's married to us right now and everything is good. It's not. And I know my teaching is different. A lot of people will argue with this, and that's fine. But this is from the language. And if you and I disagree, it's okay. It's perfectly okay. It's perfectly okay. We can have a discussion about it. We're brothers and sisters. We should be able to talk. The time when we're not able to discuss this is when you have somebody who's not open to have a dialogue and a conversation where they can bring out and say, okay, this is the reason why I said that. Without pride and arrogance, without division, to really try to help one another. That's what it is. So this is it, you guys. It's returning, listen to the voice, being a devoted follower of the Most High. We're going to be brought out to the wilderness, and that's where the Most High says, I'm going to speak some kind words to her. So when he says I'm going to bring her out there, persuade her, he's talking about when he speaks to her, he's only speaking to her when she's in the wilderness. And he's talking to the one who's decided to shuv Torah and to Kasidav, the ones who are saying, okay, you guys are now willing to listen to me. And because you're willing to listen to me now we're going to do the betrothed and we're going to do the righteousness and the grace and compassion. And you guys are going to inherit everything. And then you'll know that I'm Yahweh, that I'm merciful. When you say knowing that I'm Yahweh, you're going to know that I'm Kasid. Because only the Kasidav can follow the Kasid. Yah is Kasid. Yah is merciful. Yah is kindness. And that's our relationship. Our relationship and our reunification on Yahweh is based on that. It's not because of any, he tells us it's not any good that you have done that I'm going to do this for you. So being devoted to Yah is not any good? No, it's saying that you understand that you're showing kindness. You are a person, put it this way. When we're saying that we're the Kasidav and we're the followers of Yahweh, we're the committed followers of the Most High, and we're doing kindness, mercy, and devotion, well, you can easily say that and point right back to the Most High and say, the Most High, we're the followers of Yah because Yah has shown us kindness, he's shown us mercy, and he showed us devotion. And because of that, this is how I must live my life. The way that he looked towards me, this is how I'm going to look towards others. Everyone. Do you understand? Yah is Kasid. Yah is merciful to those who listen to him. Okay? Didn't mean to do that. Here's your weekly study. Write it down. I got a Hebrew word there. Kasidav. Write it down. And your phrase is Ani Kasidav. That's your phrase. Ani Kasidav. That's a phrase that I want you to learn. And this is something that we should say to ourselves every day because it's a reminder of God's mercy. It's a reminder of his compassion. It's not about all this other religious stuff. It's about him being merciful and him being kind to us by revealing his Torah to us and leaving a copy behind so you and I can get it. You understand? For the people who want to listen, for the people who want to return, the people that are on the cycle. So if you're not on the cycle, then you're not going to be able to get it. That's what he's telling us. You're not going to be able to get anything if you're not on the cycle. Period. Okay. What does Kasidav mean? What does Ani Kasidav? Ani Kasidav means that I am his follower. That's what it means. I am his follower. That's what you say to yourself. Ani Kasidav. And Kasid means mercy, kindness, devotion. But that's who you and I are. If and why is this important? Because if you and I follow the cycles and you're staying on his cycle, the Torah cycle, you're staying on his language, the Hebrew language, then you're going to be fine. If you allow him to lead and guide you, then he's going to lead and guide you. If we choose for him to lead and guide us, the moment you and I start listening to men, you're following them and you're not following him. And that's the problem. Let's not follow men, follow him. Okay? Don't follow a man. Don't follow a teacher. Don't follow me. Follow him. You follow me. Follow what I'm saying. Follow him. Ani Kasidav. I'm his follower. Got it? That's the cycle. That's the cycle. That's what gets you to your destination. That's it. Any questions? Contributions? Statements? Lasagna?
Total for the lesson. It was very informative. I was just thinking about the Levites, and if you could just expound a little bit more on when, because you were talking about um, a man is considered grown at 20 because
Mhm.
at that time he's allowed to go to war. And I know the Levites became the Levites because of they joined Moshe, and they defeated all those who were worshiping the golden calf. But other than that, what are the paradigms around the Levites going to war?
Basically what they're supposed to do, that's a great question. Their duty was just to pretty much they don't go to war, okay? What they do is they're responsible for the Mishkan, right? And they're responsible, certain parts of the family, like the Kohat family is responsible, which we're going to talk about next week in our Torah portion. They're the ones who's supposed to handle everything that's in the Holy of Holies, right? In the holy place. So they're the Ark of the Covenant, the incense altar, the showbread, the menorah. They're supposed to go in and only carry it. They're not supposed to cover it. They don't supposed to, look at it. They can only carry it to the location it's supposed to go. Okay. That's the Kohath family. The second family is called, or the Gershoni family. The Gershonis, or the Gershon, they're the ones who are responsible for all the curtains and all the coverings of the Mishkan. So, the badger skin, the other skins that were used, the different colors, the curtain that was opening to the Mishkan, they're responsible for those uh, curtains and the curtains to surround the courtyard. So they're all the soft goods, the Gershonis were. The individuals of the Merari family, which is the last family of the Levi family, they were responsible for getting all the hardware, like the poles, the bases where everything was, the hard goods, the very heavy things. They're responsible. So their whole purpose was to um, help Aaron and them tear down and to rebuild the Mishkan, the tabernacle, and the courtyard. Okay, their job in the wilderness was that. Now we see there was a change in their responsibilities and duties when there was no longer a Mishkan to be transferred. Their job at that point was to do the maintenance on the tabernacle and the temple. That's what they were supposed to do at that time. We do see where they were involved in some teaching aspect in the book of Ezra, where they were teaching with the Torah teacher Ezra, which he was a Kohen, he was a priest, but also the Leviim were used in order to teach too. They were using to teach. Their job also too was to collect the tithes and the offerings of the people. And so Most High, he says that choose the tribe of Levi, right? And what I want you to do instead of the firstborn of Israel, that I said all firstborns belong to me, I'm going to substitute the firstborn of Israel for the firstborn of Levi. I mean, excuse me, the Leviim, not the firstborn of Levi.
How about the Maccabees? Do
Michael,
you, Akika? How about the Maccabees? I mean, do you teach out of that book? Do you consider it to be like part of our canon? Like,
it's historical. It's a historical record of that family. And but I don't teach out of it because they have several. They have Maccabees 1, 2, and 3. I
mhm,
This historical account, it can't be denied. But in
mhm,
it, there is no instruction.
right.
You can read it and find out how they were moving. So the family of Judas Maccabee and how they
Uh-huh.
came into power, and said, well, let's preserve this. And so the priesthood got a little messy at that time, from what I
Mhm,
understand. And so there's individuals who ended up getting into the priesthood that they really shouldn't. So I look at the historical information on that, but that's it. I don't teach out of it. I only go and teach out of the Torah for what the responsibilities and the duties were according to what the Most High said, and look at the relationship that the Most High had with the Leviim. So he said, if for the firstborn of the tribes of Israel, I want a Leviim instead of the firstborn of Israel. Number one, instead of the firstborn of all the animals of Israel, I'm only going to take. They're going to substitute the Leviim's animals for those animals. And he says the job of the Leviim is to support Aaron and his sons in their duties and responsibilities in terms of moving, tearing down of the Mishkan and putting it back up. Anyone who else tries to do this, like for example, the Meraris are part of the Leviim family. So the ones who are supposed to tear down the hard goods, if they ever try to move the soft goods, Yah would kill them. If anybody from the soft goods try to help the Kohats, which are their brothers or cousins, to help them by moving the tabernacle, they were going to be put to death. It was something interesting, and I'm going to show it to you that the Most High said to Aharon and Moshe. This is what he said to them. Let me put it up real quick. See. He said that he wanted Aaron to be very careful, him and his sons, because if they did something, he said, I'm going to end up having to cut off the whole entire tribe of the Leviim.
mhm.
So I should go Bible Hub. I'm going to show this to you because it kind of got me. Because when I was reading it again this morning, I was like, wait a minute. He just said something that was very interesting. Um, Bible Hub. Yeah. So in Bible Hub, we're going to go to the book of Leviticus. I mean, not Leviticus, Numbers. We're going to go to the book of Numbers right quick, and I think it's in chapter number 3 or 4. But I gotta see what the titles are. So I know it's not in 2; it is in 3 because I think in 3 he begins to talk. Yeah, 3 he's talking to them. in chapter number 3, he tells them, he's given an account of his sons, and then what he says, okay, here it is. So in chapter number 3, verse number 5, it says in Hebrew, he says, and spoke Yahweh, I'm reading from right to left, and Yahweh to Moshe. And what I mean from reading from right to left, I'm reading in this direction for those who are still watching. I'm reading from this direction. Okay. All right. So from your right to the left. Okay. So, and he spoke Yahweh to Moshe, saying, he said, bring near to me, right? Bring near. Hakrave, that's a command. Bring me the tribe of Levi. Bring them to me. And I need you to cause them to make them stand. That right there, that word right there is to present or stand. And then it says them, but it's a third person masculine singular, meaning him. So when the Most High looks at the tribe of a group of people, he looks at it as an individual. Okay. Verse number 6 clearly shows you. It says, oh, come on, this word right here, bring them. That word them is not true. That's not the word. The word right here is a third person masculine singular. Singular. So bring him. Okay. The Oto is him. Before the face of Aharon, the Hakohen, so he may serve him. Okay. So I can prove my point to you right quick, so you won't think I'm off. They use this word Oto for them right here. And look, they use the same Oto for him. So they're using it for them right here, which is incorrect, and him right here, singular, which is third person masculine singular. Both for Oto. One says them on the right hand side, one says him on the left hand side. So which one is it? Well, according to the language, it's him. So the Most High looks at Levi, the tribe of Levi, as being an individual. Okay. So he's telling, bring him to me. Okay. Just like Israel is used as one person, even though it's many, millions, he still looks at him. He says, and they are to guard his duties and the needs of the whole congregation. So their job is to help Aaron and to help the needs and the duties of they call it the needs, but it's called the mishmeret, which is the duties and the obligations of all the congregation. Okay. So he chooses them for the Ohel Moed, which you and I know what that means now. So he says that I want them to do this and they need to serve. So they're serving on behalf of the children of Israel. They're not just serving Aaron just to be serving him. They're serving on behalf of the children of Israel to do the work, as you can see right here, the work in the Mishkan. The work. That's why you're supposed to do what work? Is it lighting the candles? No. It's to tear stuff up, when you need to tear it down and build it back up when they're moving. Okay. And so there's something he talks about all that, but I want to get to the point where he told him that he would be responsible. He didn't want them to kill or cause the death of the numbering, what should I say? Okay. Hopefully I can find it right quick where he tells, oh, I think this is it. South, the leader, the house, okay, lampstand, Ark of the Covenant, da, 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 da. Okay, all right. It's a long chapter, but just bear with me. Where's that where he told them? Anyway, he was concerned, firstborn of Israel, livestock instead of the firstborn. That goes in all the numbering. Okay. Take the Levites, livestock. Okay. So I can't find it. Okay, there was a verse, everyone. I'm sorry that I can't find it. Is it chapter 4? Service set forth and taking down the veil. Come on. Yeah, I can't find so much in here. I can't find it right now. But at any rate, oh, Look, I'm ready to give up, and here it is. Okay. All right. So verse number 17, I'm ready to give up, and here it is. I was about to give up. Verse number 17 says, this is 4 and 17. It says, Vitaber, meaning, and there's our word devar. That's that word devar. That means to what? To speak. So to speak and to bring light, right? And to bring order, because that's why Yah speaks, is to bring order. So Yahweh spoke to Moshe and Aharon saying, he told him this, all the Takritu, meaning this word right here, do not cut off the tribe of the clans of the Kohite. Don't cut off. Don't you cut off the tribe, right? The Shevet, the tribes of the families of the Kohite, right? Don't cut them off from the midst of the Halaviim. Okay, so this verse right here is saying that this family, the Kohites, they were responsible for all the things that were inside of the Mishkan, like the Ark of the Covenant. So what he was saying is they have to be careful not to be cut off from their family. If they made a mistake, right? If the Kohite family made a mistake, like looking at the Ark of the Covenant or approaching it when they were supposed to, he's saying that I'm going to cut that whole line off. I'm going to cut that whole family off. So Aaron had to go in there and cover up everything. Okay. Verse 19, he says, "And this you shall do to them in regard so that they may live and not die when they approach the Holy of Holies." And so he tells Aaron to go in and to make sure that everything is covered. Because if they look at the Ark of the Covenant, if they touch the Ark of the Covenant, if they touch the showbread, if they touch anything, Yah says he's going to wipe that family out. He's going to cut them off where they don't even exist, even in their own family no more. So all the Kohites would get wiped out if they do this. So you can see again, there's a certain level of holiness that is ascribed to Aaron and his sons only. They're the only ones who can look at the showbread. They're the only ones who can look at the not the Ark of the Covenant. Yeah, he can look at the Ark of the Covenant when he went in there, but he only goes once a year. They're the only ones who can look at the menorah, to set their eyes upon it. So this is a whole nother level. So what Azani is asking is, what's the, what capacity, or how are they moving? What's really going on? So when Yah chose them, when they killed, the people that he asked, he said, "Oh yeah, today you filled your hands." The filling of their hands was not the priesthood. The filling of their hands was the tithes and offerings that the Lamb was going to give. Okay, so the Most High decided from that moment that this is the family I'll choose because they went to battle for me. So I'll allow them to come and serve me by taking down my tabernacle. And when we continue in our Torah portion, he's going to find out that the Korach and his family are from the Kohites. And they were mad because they felt like they were being cheated. And Moshe and Aaron said, "It's a light thing for you to be in the service of the Most High. You think it's something, easy or not, or you're treating it like it's nothing to carry the ark. Do you understand by you being able to carry that ark, what that really means? That meant nothing to them." Okay. So they believed that Aaron and his family were getting over because they were getting all the silver, they're getting all the offerings, they're getting everything. So they felt slighted. They felt like they were being cheated. But back in context that we're talking about here, the Kohite family, they could not look at the menorah. They could not look, and they couldn't even touch the incense. All they're supposed to do is pick up the Ark of the Covenant after it's covered and bring it where it needs to be. And that's it. That's it. And of course, the altar, the little incense altar, they can carry that. And that's in showbread. And that's it. And the menorah. All the things that are in the tabernacle. That's it. They just carry. That's it. They don't do nothing else. They don't look at nothing. They don't cover nothing. They don't set nothing. They don't do nothing. You understand? So that's their responsibility. The Gershoni, they cannot look, touch nothing, anything that's inside that tabernacle. So what the Most High would do is he would send in, after Aaron and his sons covered everything up, the Most High then would say, "It's okay for this family to come in now." Okay. But he's telling them, you got to be careful, do not get that family cut off. Because if you don't watch them and they look at something or they touch something or see something they don't supposed to, I'm going to X them out. I'm cutting them off from the whole entire family of loving, and they won't be around no more. So that's our Elohim. Okay. He don't want them to die. That's why he says if you in this so they may live. And velo that they never yamutu, so they will never die. Because if they draw near to any of the holy things, the Kodosh, Kodashim, that they don't supposed to, I'm killing them. So I need Aaron and his sons shall go in. Okay, so that's the verse right here. It says Aaron, right here, Aaron and his sons is Uvanov. Scroll up. Is Uvanov right here. The next line. Uvanov on the right hand side of Uvanov. They're going to be the ones who are going to Yavu'u. They're the ones who are going to go in. Plurality. Third person masculine plural. So Aaron and his sons are the only ones who can go in, and they're the only ones, okay, who can do this service and do this task. No one, okay, other than them, Aaron's sons, are able to go in. Okay, Velo de Yavu'u. They are not allowed to go in. And here's the deal. The lirot here is to watch anything being covered. Otherwise, they will die. So who is Yah? Who is Yah? Who is he? That he tells them, I'll wipe that whole family out if they come in and see anything in here. See why it's not theater? See why it's not a game with us? We cannot play with him. That's what he's telling us. You better not play with me. Don't play with me. Okay?
I keep
Yes.